Okay. I want to talk about when you pass away and when your human vessel is no longer working and operating anymore, when your spirit and your soul freeze up, do not follow the light. Just like a moth to a flame, you will die and you will get reincarnated. But of course, if you want to get reincarnated, follow the light. Okay. But if you want to see what else is out there in the world and let go of a lot of certain attachments, you want to not follow the light. But while you're in this physical solid form, you want to create as many experiences as you can. Even if you can't physically create them, you need to imagine them. You need to create prosperous, conquering, unlimited bounties in your imagination and write them down. Your wildest dreams, write them down, vlog them. It's important that you do that. Create your best feelings here in this formation. That's our true purpose, is to create our true thoughts. And then we take those thoughts with us and carry them on, add them to the endless amount of maybe we have lived many lives and we just forgot them. It's important not to forget your best moments you want to have, and your most exalting, where you just feel so free moments. You want to create those, even if you don't have millions of dollars in your bank account. You still can imagine that. You're not limited. Your imagination is not limited. So it's important that you create your wildest dreams and don't have limitations on them. Just like frequencies are unseen as far as Wi-Fi connections go, sending text messages, those are all unseen frequencies. Those are real. So if you recognize on that level that unseen things happen as far as frequencies, Wi-Fi's and stuff like that, and Bluetooth, all that is unseen frequencies. You need to realize that there are unseen frequencies when you pass away too. Just like when you walk into a room, you can feel vibes of people and you can just see like, oh, I don't want to be here, or these are some good vibes. I feel real comfortable. It's the same thing when you pass away. So it's important that you foster those a lot while you're here, especially like if you're really feeling depressed. Just foster some good thoughts. That's just a lot of ways to get out of certain things. Just foster some good thoughts. Even you can foster some thoughts about you getting back at an enemy. Foster those thoughts. Everything that you want to see bad happen to a person, foster those thoughts to them. Write it down. You want to see something good happen? Foster those thoughts. Write it down. You can. All those things can happen because the frequencies how to develop as thought forms, and we are essentially a thought form, a solidified thought form. But thought forms can last forever. Unfortunately, the physical form does not last forever. Unfortunately, as far as human bodies go, or whatever creatures on this planet. But it does have a long life because as far as bones, it lasts a long time. And there's DNA all around us. When you breathe in, you can be breathing in someone's DNA, someone that had passed away. Somebody could spread their ashes somewhere, and you could be breathing in the dust, the dirt. It's all DNA, and all energy from other people. So a lot of people are into this germophobic thing. Of course, you want to keep things clean and maintained and not, have things causing diseases. But the idea that there's death all around us, there are dead particles we're breathing in every day. We're shedding things every day to rejuvenate. The unseen, I truly believe it's about 5 to 10% in this of what we experience here, maybe 5 to 10% is in the spiritual realm, as far as unseen things goes. But some things are just beyond human comprehension, because a lot of things in the spiritual world violate the laws of the physical world. So, with that being said, um, with that being said, we really need to, in our thoughts, we really need to be, what's the word? Limitless. Just because someone may be trapped in a cage doesn't mean you can't manifest something to break yourself out. Know that the world we live in, versus physical and spiritual, are limitless. It's all in the mind that we think is limited based on the physical form, Our lack of knowledge of how to fly, our lack of knowledge of how to manifest things really quickly, and ability to stay focused is the reason why a lot of people have ADHD, and it's hard for them to stay focused on a lot of things. But it's important that you keep focused on what you really want and what you really need. And just because you feel limited doesn't mean that things cannot happen another way if you just start imagining them the way you want them to happen. Yeah, that's all I want to mention about the light. And unseen forces. It's very important that you get acquainted with this idea, because a lot of people don't have the knowledge. Like a lot of cultures and they call primitive cultures, they had this knowledge of death. Death was not such a scary experience. It was not such a mystery. But now in the modern times, they're trying to get more people to stay here for some reason, to feed up the energy. I think the energy is so great these days because we have more luxury, more convenience. And when you have more luxury, more convenience, you're more opted to want to be here in this world. You have more urge to want to reproduce. You will have more urge to maybe be reincarnated because it was a good life here. But this is not what's supposed to be. This is actually a sentencing for some odd reason. It's supposed to be a learning experience. In some ways, it was part for enslavement of feelings, and so other people can feed off your energy. But I don't think it was supposed to be so luxurious and so convenient, There's supposed to be some hardship because this was actually a sentence. If you look at our skeletal structure looks like a fucking prison. Like when you die, the bones emerge and it looks like a freaking prison. The rib cage, the word cells. That's all to see that it's a prison. It's all a prison for the spirit, the soul. For the soul. A prison for what? Like, I know there's definitely spiritual warfare because of the idea that religions are such a big deal. Cognitive dissonance is such a big deal. When things come about that go against your beliefs or what you think to be true. It's such a big deal. It's a war of the minds and the hearts. It always has been a war of the minds and the hearts since the beginning of time. But my question is, why did Europeans exact such harsh treatment on African people? When Africans ruled Spain, they did not do such harsh treatment. And if they did, no one's talking about it, no one's showing anything. or whatever. Or maybe it was such a great insult for whatever reason on somebody's mind that the fact that you think you're great and you want us to worship you, it's an insult in itself. I don't know. I don't know how people's minds work half the time. Half the time, I don't know how my mind works. But when Africans did rule Spain, it wasn't harsh treatment. It wasn't hangings. There wasn't brutal beatings. So where did this hatred for the African people come from? You know, that's my question. Pure, unadulterated hatred. And why, if ancient people knew that life was such a prison, a physical formation, it was such a prison, why did they go over there and help the Europeans out? And they could just, perish during the Black Plague, whatever diseases and illness they had. Why did those Moors and whoever else go over there and help them live a better life? What was the trick to that? Was it to usurp their energies? No, because they say people are, the darker the melanin is, they have a strong energy field. So would it really be usurping another group of people's energy? So would that be the reason behind it? Or was it an egotistical reason? I'm not quite sure. But it's very interesting because it makes you think, like, why did they? Because a lot of times, primitive or ancient cultures know the reason why humans are here, but it's been lost over time. So why did they help them? Why didn't they mind their own business and let them, stay in their world? Why teach them? Why share with them? You know what I'm saying? So, as far as prophecy goes, but people gonna do their own thing anyway. They have sympathy. They have these human flaws. So, of course, the human flaw will get you in trouble every time. But nonetheless, the importance of realizing this physical form is temporary. And the more importance you need to place on is your thoughts. Your unseen part of you need to focus on. Give the unseen part of you more attention. Really focus on why you feel the way you feel. Really focus on your dreams as far as when you go to sleep. Because, like I said, it's temporary. But it's like in this modern day, they want so much attention on this luxury. So much attention on living a prosperous life as far as monetary wealth goes. Of course, that would make life easier, but really, is life supposed to be easier when this is just a temporary phase? This is creating more urges to come back here. Building bigger and better prisons for us to feed off our energy. Because I think before times, people used to just feed off, before the humans came down here or was materialized, people used to feed off animals' energy like we do now. Like humans, we still feed off animals' energy, whether we eat them, and plants' energy. So before that, plants and animals were already here, so we can feed off their energy. But now, for some reason, humans are locked down in this physical form. Some other humans are feeding off our energy. But I guess maybe people get bored, and it was like when you get bored, you do crazy things, things you shouldn't have done. So I'm assuming that people can get bored. They just start imagining things that have never been imagined before, whether they're good or bad. Because if you think about it, if you are the most wealthiest person in the world, you have everything. You need not want for anything. You can get pretty damn bored. That's what I would think. I've seen the world. I've ate every good food that can be eaten. I have get massages. I sleep all day, sleep all night. I don't have to lift a finger. With that thought form alone, you can get bored. So you might want to create other thought forms. So I can understand the boredom of luxury and having it all. Because when you have it all, it's pretty much the end, right? Because it's like you got it all. You got the money, you got everything you want. There's nothing to want. There's no more urge. When you lose the urge, there's no more need. There's no more need. Right? There's no more need to push on, you know. But if you have a great mind and you want to just play games, life is a game, of course. If you want to play games, you're definitely going to wind up creating such, I won't say dichotomies, but different thought, levels of thought. Different levels of thought. Good, bad, in between, gray, black, white, all types of. You just want to just experience whatever thoughts your mind could imagine. So why people may ask, why are Africans, original people, at such a low point? Whatever goes up must come down, right? So if you're at this highest level, you've experienced the highest points of highness. So you might get curious, the Prince and the Pauper type deal. You might get curious of what's down there with the civilians. You might get curious to live a life of how does it feel not to have. Because you obviously have had experience what to have so much is. So you might be curious of how to live that life, to have it all. Or to not to have it all. Or to have, the urge to strive. The urge to hate. The urge to see destruction. You might have a need to do that because you have had it all. That's a possibility as far as thought forms go. A lot of times you manifest these things in your mind and they come later down the line. Or sometimes they come quick depending on the situation. But just like I said, these Wi-Fi frequencies is a small aspect of the spiritual realm. And we need to really, if we want to, I guess so to speak, if you want a level of living, wanting to, or have the urge to live a good life, just focus on those unseen parts of yourself. But that goes against the laws of physics. You got to go to school to get your education because that's the only way to get to the top. Once again, that idea that you have to look outside yourself for salvation, look outside yourself to be liberated. Wrong. Deep within, we have the power to have anything we want. As an individual, it's great to have community, but as an individual, you are a self-reliant, self-sufficient machine. And based on being a self-reliant, self-sufficient machine, your thoughts are your greatest weapon and your greatest enemy. And with that paradox of reality, we need to be in control of that. So as you try to go outside yourself, you create more urges, you know, for other energies to feed off of, you know. Um, just like people think animals at are just a mere thing to feed off of. Plants and animals are what we feed off of. That's our substance. That's the energy we get from them. But as you know, a lot of animal rights people think that's wrong. But you still eat it for plants. They're alive too, right? And so based on that, um, you have to eat. You have to feed off of something. Even if you're a breatharian, you're feeding off of something. You're stealing somebody's energy. You're taking you need or dependent on someone else's energy. And based on your dependency on energy, such as animals and plants for survival. So on a spiritual level, spirits feed off energy too. They may not actually physically eat, but they breathe in those invisible things that you cannot see. The energy that something is living, they feed off of that living energy. Because if you are so-called dead or not alive, you can only feed off living things. So just like when you are alive, you feed off of living things as well, as far as actually eating them physically. But spiritually, they don't eat them physically. They just consume the energy they have on a not so much on a metaphysical level, but a quantum physical level of feeling the frequency, the unseen frequency. That's what they feed off of. So not only if you are human that has passed away, physical form, and you're in spiritual form or unseen frequency, you are feeding off of frequencies from other living entities. Not physically, but just like Wi-Fi works, you're feeding off of those energies. So that's why it's important to really get reconnected or get connected to those unseen aspects of yourself. Your thoughts are your greatest weapon. Like, the subconscious mind cannot decipher what's real and fake. It can't. So, do research on the subconscious mind and how it works, the unconscious mind and how it works. If it believes it's real, it's real. So, it's all about knowing yourself, knowing who you really are. Because all of this luxury is a part of the imagination, but also a distraction to the reality of reality that this body's gonna die. It's a cage. To prevent, maybe it's another aspect to prevent people from spirits going crazy. They try to keep the humans sane, so when they feed off your energy, they can be sane. That's a possibility. Or you feel a certain way, they feel a certain way. These feelings are unseen. You think a certain way, they can take your thoughts and think. You feel good when you eat food, they can feel a certain way. So it's important that you be cautious. Not your slightest self-doubt. And how your anger is directed to. You gotta know who your true enemy is and direct it toward them. Focus on their face, their smell, their look, and focus the energy on them. And also yourself. Learn to be religious about who you are as far as You want to believe in yourself, so you need to create a religion around you. Upliftment, exalted. Imagine if everybody truly believed in themselves and didn't outsource their energy, you know, as far as worshiping to the point of ridiculousness, you know, that type of deal. But this is just my thoughts, and I'm sharing them with you, YouTube land, whoever is watching. And tell me your thoughts. Subscribe, rate. Let's share this journey together.